Alrighty, folks, coming at you guys today with some version 1.5 patch notes, and we're talking about what is going to be the impact on the meta of this patch. These are not extremely big patch notes, so we're going to try to go through it quick for you guys. Depending on when you're seeing this, the patch may already be live, as it is going live the morning of the 29th. So it's probably already live now as of the time you're seeing this. Version 1.5, the introduction of Wukong. Very exciting and long awaited. But let's get right into it. Timestamps below. We're going to talk about the hero changes and the item changes mainly. That is where I'm seeing the meta impact here. There's also some stuff about ranked draft changes and some UI changes as well, which will not impact the meta. So we're focusing mainly on meta impact here. We're also going to glass over Wukong. I highly encourage you to go check out this Wukong overview video right here. It's about 4 minutes, and it is a little over 4 minutes, and it is very in-depth on showing off his abilities, as well as a little bit of the background of Wukong. So check this video out if you're curious about Wukong. We're not going to go through all of his abilities and read all of this stuff here, because we really need to play him some, and as I am not a PC guy, I did not get access to the test servers because they're not on console, so I didn't capture any footage, but there is plenty of footage out there already of people playing Wukong if you want to see that as well. So we will be playing him on release day here. Come out to the streams. Thanks to everyone who has been coming out to the streams and hanging out with us as we continue to enjoy Pred. So let's get right into it. Glassing over Wukong, he does have a really awesome set of abilities. He's the first stance changing hero. Instead of having an ultimate, he has a stance change, switching between effectively what is 6 other abilities, because it's 3 on one side and 3 on the other stance. So very cool hero, very high skill cap, gonna be overpowered. Don't let anybody tell you that he's not overpowered when he comes out, because have they released a hero yet that wasn't overpowered on release? I don't think so. So expect him to be absolutely broken for a while, and then a couple patches from now he will be nerfed down to earth. If you want to play him in his full strength overpowered form, hop onto him as soon as possible after his release. We've got some new skins. They're continuing some of the Shadow Op skins with a Shadow Op Wukong. And then they are adding Wraith or Rogue skins with a Rogue Wraith and a Rogue Quang. This is a continuation of the Rogue Sparrow and Rogue Kalari skins. Let's see. They probably have a Rogue bundle here, right? Yeah, Rogue Quang. It's Rogue Quang, Rogue Wraith, Rogue Mega Bundle. Yeah, so Sparrow, Kalari, Wraith, and Quang will now all have rogue skins, which do look really nice, but of course absurdly overpriced, and do not buy them unless you just want to spend your money on them. Ranked Season 0, this is the season that ended. This was pre the first season of Ranked. One of the big things coming with 1.5 is the Ranked Season 1. Going to be exciting. You get a couple rewards, banners, and whatnot for having participated in Season 0. This first season of Ranked is going to be called Ashes of the Damned, and it's going to include 2 new heroes, it looks like, that are sisters. They give a little lore background here if you want to hop in here and read it. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what they do. They said they were targeting... Oh yeah, here's something important. Players will be reduced by up to 7 divisions. A player that is Plat 1 will start Season 1 in Silver 2, so it is not a hard reset of your ranked, but you are getting reduced many divisions. We'll see what they do with this first season of Ranked. It looks exciting. They're targeting 3-month time periods between ranked seasons and between these resets. So you have 3 months-ish to grind out this ranked, grind up to a higher ranked in this Ashes of the Damned Season 1. Should be quite fun. And then they do confirm that the first of these 2 sisters will be joining the roster in 1.6. So we'll be getting both of these new heroes in this Ashes of the Damned Season 1 of Ranked. Very exciting. Some changes coming to the draft phase. We've got Hero Pick Intent, where you have a little bit of time before the bans to show what hero you intend to pick to your team so that they do not ban that hero. It's just, yeah, you'll have 15 seconds. Maybe some people will pay attention to that. Maybe not, you know. The 4 most OP heroes are still going to be getting banned, I think, the majority of the time. And notice I did say 4 because we do have second ban introductions now bans are going in a snake draft where one team bans a hero, the other team bans a hero, the first team bans a second hero, and then the second team bans a second hero. So there'll be 4 unique bans per ranked game. Very exciting there. Improved AFK loss mitigation. You should lose less VP when your team has someone that goes AFK on it. I think they said it's going to be up to about half of what you would normally lose for the loss. So that is nice, some steps to, let people ruin the game less for you. 24/7 ranked for 2 weeks. Eventually, I think maybe ranked will be constantly 24/7. I just don't know if the player base is really there yet for that. And we will see how this goes. Split 1, so first split will be a bit longer than future splits. Yep, so they're targeting about 12 weeks, 4 splits a year. Is kind of what they're going for. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely some nice ranked improvements. I like 2 bans per team, and we will soon have more heroes to pick from for those bans. So that's nice. Kicking off the first season of ranked is exciting for sure, and finally getting our first ever rank reset, which is really nice. They also, I don't know if they mentioned it here anywhere. I don't know if they mentioned it here anywhere or if they intend to implement it. Yeah, because it doesn't look like they mentioned it here. In the dev stream, which by the way, dev stream also linked below, where they talked about 1.5, they discussed that there will be more people available in your ranked queues. So you'll be able to queue 1, 2, 3, or 5 stacks in your ranked queues. I don't know if they intend for that to come out in this patch or not because they don't mention it here. I would hope that they do, but maybe they don't. Maybe they're going to wait for 1.6 on that. Either way, look for bigger stacks available in your ranked queues. We'll find out very shortly after this release if that is a possibility or not. So that's all we've got for ranked. Exciting to see the first season. Purchasable loot cores. Buy loot cores of plat if you want. If you don't, don't. New server. We got a Latin America server now. NA Central is the combination of what used to be NA West and East, and now we have, and we still have the OCE servers are here to stay, which is nice, and now we're going to have a Latin America server. So yeah, that's nice for all of our Latin America guys. Get a little closer server to you, and hopefully better ping. So game changes, here we go. This is not really part of the meta discussion, but one thing that we are getting in this one is improved damage readability, just a sharper UI overall with enhanced health bar visuals, compound damage tracking, so the numbers will stack up on tick damage into a single number to reduce on-screen clutter, which is really nice. Hit marker scaling, it all looks really good. I'll see if I can, I don't know if this is going to be visible here very well in the capture, but you can see from the numbers are more bold now for sure, and you can see if you find any gameplay of people playing on the test server that this is what the damage pop-up numbers look like, and the actual hero kill symbol in the middle of your screen is cleaner as well, so I quite like all of that. Really nice that they're continuing to improve the UI, as we got the minimap improvements in the previous patch, and now we are getting damage number improvements and kill and assist marking improvements as well. So quite nice, looking forward to it. We'll see it, like I said, come out to the stream. We'll be running it on the day of release. Gameplay balance changes. Here we go. Let's finally get into the meta discussion of things. First things first, death timers. This is outside of hero and item balance changes, but death timers are getting re-increased. The fact that they reduced them so much in the first place and then have been repeatedly bumping them back up by very, very incremental amounts, I'm not really a fan of. I think death timers are still too short. We're seeing in this patch death timers at levels 1 through 9 increasing from 7 scaling up to 25 to 10 scaling up to 26. So at level 1, 3-second longer respawn time. Yippee! And then at level 9, 1 second longer respawn. Woohoo! We got 1 second longer respawn time at level 9. This is just absurd that they even are willing to make these small of incremental changes, because this doesn't 3 seconds at level 1. First off, nobody's dying at level 1 anyway, but 3 seconds longer respawn from 7 to 10. Like, who cares? It's just right reaching that point where it's not as fast to respawn as it is to just back. Like at 10 seconds, I guess it's about the same. So I don't like this. I think respawn timers should be longer. I think jungle objectives should spawn later. I don't like this whole push towards the hero shooter genre where everything's got to be starting up super quick in the game and all that. Get over it. Make me respawn. Make it take 15 seconds for me to respawn if I die at level 1 to give the opponent who killed me an advantage, or leave the timers as short as they are but give more XP and gold reward for getting those early kills. So one or the other, but that's what we've got as far as that. So let's hop into the meat of the meta changes and why we're really here for this video today, which is hero balance changes and item balance changes. Let's start off with hero balance changes. A host of very minor changes is what I saw when I looked through this prior. We've got Crunch first off. His forward crunch dash range increased by 10%. This is another situation where, similar to the death timers, let's reduce his dash range. Oh no, his dash range doesn't feel as good. Let's increase his dash range. They seem to kind of mess with things that they don't need to mess with sometimes, and now we're getting a little bit of it back. We'll see that theme through some of these other hero changes as well. Decker, another one. Physical power growth increased. Mana cost decrease on her Photon Disruptor, and then the Ion Strike ultimate gets increased scaling. This was a thing where she got damage reductions a couple patches ago. She got movement speed reductions. Now she's getting mana cost reductions and ultimate scaling and power growth. Who knows? I don't think this really pushes Decker into some crazy position. These are really minor changes, but the mana cost will be appreciated for sure, the mana cost reduction. Gideon, oh no, his ultimate hits too hard. Didn't we just buff his ult? I don't know. Let's figure something out here. Damage decreased very significantly at level 1, but not so significantly at max level. On Gideon's ult, he does have a pretty strong level 6 power spike, because if he ults you at level 6 right now, you're probably dead. We are getting a trade-off of 10% increased scaling on it, so does his ult do too much? Does it do too little? We don't know. Let's just move it around until people stop complaining, and that is what we've got again here with the black hole. Greystone, I think this is one of the more significant ones here. If you've been keeping up with some of the videos recently, you've probably seen a couple Greystone gameplays on the channel. I think Greystone is in an okay spot in version 1.4.5 and version 1.4 and on, really. Pretty usable in jungle, a very solid tank in solo lane. You've got good options on him as far as builds with the jungle crit build of Overlord, Aegis of Agawar, and a Noxian Quiver, and then you've got full tank options in solo, which are both decent. Check out my recent videos if you want to see some gameplay of him. But he's getting some pretty sizable buffs in a patch here where most heroes are getting very small nerfs. He's actually getting sizable buffs with a solid movement speed increase of 20 points. That's kind of hard to quantify, but it's probably about the same amount of movement speed that you would get just from like a Berserker's Axe or any of those movement speed items by themselves. So solid movement speed increase. Make way receiving increased damage, 20 extra damage across the board is definitely nothing to scoff at, especially at level 1 where that 20 damage could be impactful for clearing your wave fast or your jungle camps. And then Sacred Oath actually receiving 10% more scaling here, which is crazy because the Sacred Oath can already make, when you hit it, if you're on that crit build, you can already crit for well over 1,000 with Sacred Oath procs. So 10% extra scaling on it. I would honestly expect Greystone nerfs coming in the future because I don't feel like they want Greystone to be this strong that this looks like. So we'll see. This is one of the bigger changes for sure impacting the meta. I think Greystone is going to step into a very consistent and usable position now. Oh no, where's his CC? Where's his hard CC? Where's his hard... What do we do if he doesn't have a stun? What do we do if Shinbi doesn't have a stun? What do we do with Sereth if she doesn't have a stun? Oh wait, they don't. Get over it. Greystone's going to be pretty decent now. I think he's already in a good spot, like I said. And before these changes, he's been boasting 51-ish% win rates across most ranks. So I think this is potentially too much for him, and I would expect nerfs coming in the near future. hold me to it. Grux, Double Pain, yeah, it's almost as if this has been overpowered since 1.4, and Grux as a hero in general has been overpowered since even before 1.4, but they are at least increasing the cooldown by half a second across the board for this Double Pain and giving you less missing health healing, which is good. The healing seems really oppressive on Grux right now. A lot of times you can just get him so low, but he'll just keep spamming the Double Pain and keep healing off of it. So this should at least get him closer to balanced. Is he going to be balanced? Is he going to be overpowered? He's still going to be overpowered. We all know the answer to that. Howie, R2000 missile, direct hit damage decreased. I don't really know what the point of this is because it's reduced by 20 damage in the late game, but it's the same at level 1. You are leveling his missile, so I get that this will be the first ability maxed, but I feel like rewarding people for the direct missile hits is still something you should be looking to do. And then also the slow grenades, getting a little damage decrease again at the late game and not in the early game. And the slow is getting increased on it, so more of a tech ability with 4% more slow across the board, but a little bit less damage in the late game. I think Howie is still the hero that Howie is. His ult still deletes carries and mid laners most of the time. And maybe these changes are decent for him overall, but it seems unnecessary. I think Howie's in a pretty good spot right now. And rewarding players for the direct hits I think is valuable. Kallari, another one of the larger changes that we're getting is to Kallari. The Deathmark passive cooldown per target decreased from 12 to 10. This is very important. Really not been a fan of Kallari where you mark someone, that mark triggers, and then you cannot mark them again right away if you're in that 1v1 scenario. So getting this reduced by 2 seconds is quite nice. It'll let you repeat mark heroes in sustained fights for more efficiently for sure. Shadow Dance, this is the jump. It is getting a cooldown decrease by 1 second. In the early game, and then 3 seconds in the late game is quite crazy. Jump height decreased by 15% as well. Getting this up really fast seems like it's unnecessary. So you don't want to really see Kallari be using this more than once or twice at the most in a team fight. So, interesting. This definitely helps Kallari quite a bit, especially in combination with the Deathmark, since it does double damage. I think double damage or massively boosted damage against people who are Deathmarked. And then the ultimate, getting a damage increase, getting a scaling increase by 10% at late game, which is quite a decent amount, and then missing health damage multiplier decreased to 2, which probably all balances out. These are good buffs for Kallari. I think Kallari is already in a spot where she can help you win games pretty consistently, but we'll see with that Shadow Dance cooldown how that feels. I'm sure it'll feel quite good in combination with the Deathmark, like I said. Chimera. Chimera has been consistently quite strong. He's been one of my top junglers, and probably from a statistical standpoint, one of, if not the best jungler in the game. Ambush cooldown has been changed. This is what I was talking about earlier. Oh, let's just change it so that his ambush always has the same cooldown. Oh no, that didn't feel good because it was too strong early and then not strong enough late. Let's change it back to what it was before, where as you level it, it gets a shorter cooldown. This was like 2 patches ago that they just changed this, and now they're changing it back. So, oh no, we do it. Yeah, whatever. Now there's actually a reason to level Ambush, at least. This was the last ability I would ever level. Previously, now you do want to level it to get a shorter cooldown on it. You've got to get it to level 3 before it even has the previous level 1 cooldowns. And then the ult getting a longer cooldown as well. Just in the early game by 10 seconds and then 5 in the mid game. Pretty fair. I don't think this really changes Kallari much, or Chimera much. I think it does change that you're leveling Ambush now instead of the Cleanse. Because prior you would focus the Unleash and then the Cleanse second and then Ambush last. Now you're probably doing Ambush second and Cleanse last, just for that quicker cooldown. So nice, a reversion of a previous change. Who would have guessed, right? Kira. I'm still not a fan of Kira, but they redid her kit in 1.4, and she is an meta original, so they want her to be prevalent in the meta. So they are changing her Dusk to have a reduced cooldown. This is her dash ability. And it looks like it's just 1 second in the late game and the same at level 1. So it is what it is. The Mercy is the bigger change with a damage increase coming by 5 base across the board, a cooldown decrease coming by a second across the board, a mana decrease, and a range increase by 50. I think this kind of just puts her closer to that point where you're asking yourself more and more, why would I pick Twin Blast? Because Kira basically has the same kit, except for a worse ult and a way better passive. So I think we'll see some Twin Blast buffs here below as well, but odd that they're trying to keep her... they're trying to make it so that there's no reason for you to pick Twin Blast, I guess, kind of for the most part is what it looks like, but then again, we will see some Twin buffs down here, so take that with a grain of salt for sure. Belica, if you checked out my recent Belica spreadsheet video, you saw that these scalings right here that she gets on her basic attacks are too strong. They are balanced out by how armor works and her having to go through armor 3 times, but overall they are just too strong. Anyone that understands basic math could have told you that all the way back in version 1.4 when she got these changes. We went ahead and did a spreadsheet to prove it to you, but so check that one out if you're interested. But yeah, finally getting nerfed back down to earth. I think this is really just going to make her pretty much in line with all carries as far as auto attack potency and late game strength. So 70% instead of 75, and then a little bit less on hit proc efficiency. So Morgesh is still a noob stomper. She's still trash at high ranks. Her healing is quite strong, which is why they are reducing the magical power scaling on her mark healing. That's fair. That's fair. No need to nerf her because she is so unbelievably bad at high ranks and really easy to counter, but she is still going to be a noob stomper pretty much always, I think, based on her kit and how you have to position around her. So solid nerfs here. Mourn definitely has been one of the weaker supports for a while now. Getting a series of buffs here, which I think will help him. Physical power growth increased and mana increased at level 1. We will take it. Extract, this is his passive, where he heals and does area magic damage. The damage is getting increased, decreased at level 1, but with 8 scaling instead of 5, it will do more in the late game. Also increased magical power scaling, which is nice, and also 15% attack speed when it's available. This will only be for 1 hit, of course, but at least it'll let you get that swing off quicker and should feel a lot cleaner. So already a pretty strong passive. I expect it to continue to feel good. That buff, along with his general power growth, does help him out in solo lane some if you're interested in playing him there. The Abduct, the Pull, magical power scaling increased by 10%. Again, pretty solid, does help him out in solo lane. And the cast frame increase, we'll see how this feels in game. I'm assuming this means that the actual pull comes out a second and a half later, or a frame and a half later, which is probably not noticeable in regular gameplay. Contagion, this is the heal. The healing is increased, not at level 1, but a little bit in the late game. The scaling is increased, the damage is increased flat, and the damage scaling is also increased by 5%. Solid changes here. Again, this helps him in solo if you do want to play him in solo. Allows you to get more tick damage on the duo lane if that's what you're going for or building around, so we'll take that. The cooldown decrease here is also really impactful, 2 seconds at level 1, and the same cooldown late game. That's quite strong. That's quite strong. 2 seconds at level 1 can really help you early in duo, I feel like. And then his ultimate duration increased from 4 to 4.5. It's almost as if they just nerfed this ultimate and now they realized it's not good, so they gave us half-second duration on it. Whatever, that helps, I guess. We'll take it. I don't expect Mourn to step into some crazy position, but these buffs all around the board do seem pretty good for him and should make him at least compete with most of the other tankier supports. Murdoch receiving some nerfs here. Physical power growth decrease, Buckshot getting less armor shred, and his ultimate getting a smaller hitbox and a slightly longer cooldown at level 1. This is pretty fair. The hitbox on this ult does often feel overpowered, and feels like it catches you from way too far away. So I think this pretty much balances his ult out and his whole kit overall out pretty well. Should not be the consensus #1 pick anymore, but may still be. It has a very strong kit with good tech in it. So Muriel, we're going to continue to nerf Muriel. We need a nerfer. Make sure that people are not winning games with Muriel because armor's too strong, so let's nerf her for the 3rd time in a row. Shield, or on her ult, damage decrease, shield decrease, shield scaling increased by 5%, which isn't going to make a difference, and knock up height decreased by 10%. Big nerfs to her ult for sure, but hey, we don't want people winning games with Muriel. She's not cool, and she is not an Ometa original hero. Narbash, again, we need to reduce his move speed bonus. He does help. The move speed is kind of strong, but physical power scaling decreased from 6 to 4.5. You really shouldn't be building that much magical power on him. You may build 200-ish late game, depending on what you're going, so a little bit less move speed, I guess. Boost from Narb may... I don't think he's that strong right now, but that's cool. FaZe, for sure we need to buff her. She's not annoying enough. That's the main thing with FaZe, is she's not annoying to play against. So let's give her 10% extra scaling on the Energy Lance. Why not? She is actually going to probably build a lot of physical power, magical power, so this will be impactful probably. And then the ult, it already seems like most phases kind of spam the ult. But 10 seconds shorter cooldown late game, I guess, is fine. FaZe is inherently good if you're good with her, but takes a little bit getting used to. Just an incredibly safe support right now. Rampage, we still see him quite a bit post the after the nerfs, I guess I should say, of post 1.4.5 and 1.4.4, whatever. But now they're giving a little bit of physical power scaling back on the Rumble, 5%. This is good. He often actually feels like he deals good damage, so we'll take a little bit of extra damage on him. I like when Rampage is strong. It's kind of a more fun meta. And they say it's for competitive clear speeds, but how does 5% scaling affect clear speeds? It doesn't. Base damage is what impacts clear speeds, so whatever. Rev, one of the worst carries right now by a large margin. It's just when every other carry is autoing super fast and nuking you, having these slow autos does not feel good at all. Scar is getting a cooldown that scales with levels. That's fine, I guess. You'll get to use Scar maybe multiple times for fight, especially if you're on a big haste build. And then his Hellfire rounds, his reload button, is getting better crit multiplier scaling with his leveling of it. Again, decent. You at least need him to be able to hit hard if his autos are coming out that slow. So this maybe makes Revenant feel good. You can still win games for sure with Revenant if you're good with him. But in the mid game, it does feel like once carries get their attack speed online, they usually nuke him. So we'll see. Riktor getting some decent buffs here. I'm not really sure why. Riktor seems pretty decent to me. But I think, like I say, the greater dueling and clear potential for the offlane and jungle lane roles, that's what it seems like they've done with these changes. Not focused on making him a better support. So still good in support, but you got to hit your pulls. General changes, getting more health regen at level 1 is nice. His passive, getting a longer duration of the shield, which is, again, very nice. Keeping in mind that the shields can stack between his ult and his pull, so if you hit both of them and stack them, they will stay around for longer. Shock Therapy, getting cost reduced to 50 mana, which is quite good. I mean, especially in solo lane where you're having to manage your mana pretty sharply. His Electrocute, the area damage, getting better max health scaling from 10% to 12%. You should be building a big 5k health pool on Rick anyway, so that's going to come up to a decent amount, little extra damage there. And then his pull finally getting more buffs. Damage decrease here, but you see it's only by 5. And then max health scaling by 1%. That's going to be more than 5 damage on pretty much every hero. And then cooldown decreased by a second at all ranks. So really good selection of Riktor buffs here. I like this. I'm a Riktor solo lane enjoyer, especially into all these sweaty Grux players, and this will just make it a little bit easier to win that matchup. So, is it too far? Probably. We're probably going to be seeing Riktor nerfs in the future. Sevarog, attack speed increased, sure, and Subjugate mana cost changed to be cheaper in the early game and slightly more in the late game. This can help him for sure early game if you're using Subjugate to safely secure more minion stacks on his passive, so we'll take that. Shinbi, line tempo. Shinbi's been way overperforming. If you've been paying attention to the solo lane meta, she is a very, very much overperformer right now. So she was due some nerfs for sure. Line tempo damage changed to actually be more early and a little bit less late. This is the wolf dash, by the way. This is the throwable wolf. And then the cooldown is increased. They just decreased this cooldown. They just, in the previous patch, decreased this cooldown. I don't know why, but they're taking it right back. So, there you go. Circle Rhythm, shield scaling. This was one of the biggest problems, or like kind of the most obvious problem with her kit, is that the shield scales off of magical power. So when you build a 600 magical power build on Shinbi, and you get this shield 2 times, it can be really hard to punch through her. Rushing beat cooldown reduction on hit increased. So you get your rushing beat back faster if you are hitting the circle rhythm. But the cooldown on rushing beat itself has been increased in the late game by a second. So kind of balances out there. We'll see if these changes feel good. I think this cooldown change by half a second is definitely going to be noticeable because they just gave her that a couple patches ago, and it's felt really strong. And of course, you notice after they gave her that is when she jumped up. But this scaling is the most important part for sure. Steel, he's overpowered. I think everybody's been saying the same thing, is that his passive is quite strong, and so they're taking it down to 15% from 20%. Very fair change. Steel will be slightly less absurdly tanky, but he will still be one of the tankier heroes in the game. Twin, getting bonus attack speed from his passive is 45 instead of 40. Nice, that's what makes him feel good early game, so I do really like that. And then Vaporize also getting a damage increase of 5 flat across the board. Again, will help him out. He's got stiff competition in Kira, so we'll see if he really competes. I don't think his ult is what makes him good most of the time, so we'll see. And then finally, Wraith here. Wraith, please tell me your thoughts on this, guys, because this sentence right here, when I looked through this the first time, support Wraith enjoyers rejoice. How many support Wraith enjoyers are there? Is there like 6? Is there like 7? I mean, globally, there cannot be that many. The fact that he is getting buffs specifically in his support role is weird, and those buffs are coming in the form of his ward buffs. And getting free stats when he does get the drone upgraded. So I don't know what the deal is with this, but he's going to be worse at carry with longer cooldowns. We'll look through these here. So basically his passive where he gets the drone, if you're on support crest and you get the drone, the cooldown is now massively decreased. The duration is massively increased. And when you get it, which I'm assuming this is when your support crest upgrades, you get free magical power, haste, mana regen, and 3 move speed. I don't know why this is a thing. I don't know why you would play Wraith support, but if you're a Wraith support enjoyer, like it says, let me know in the comments that I am an idiot and that Wraith is a top 5 support, and I will not argue with you, because it's a losing argument for both sides on that one. So Peekaboo, like I said, mana cost increased and cooldown increased. You know, it is what it is. Surprise, surprise, his invisibility. Of course, a cooldown increase again, just in the early game this time, and in the late game on the Peekaboo. And a mana cost increased. And then Knock Knock, damage per level decreased, so a little bit less damage bonus, and less scaling, or more actual magical power scaling, but let's be honest, you're not building that much magical power on him, so very interesting changes here. Like I said, support Wraith Enjoyers, rejoice, I guess, whatever. Let me know what you think about that one, because that's an odd one. So that's it for our hero changes. That went a little bit longer than I expected. Let's get into the item balance changes. Well, before we get into the item balance changes, I guess let's go over the biggest ones, which were Wraith getting mysterious nerfs in the carry and mid role in exchange for buffs at support, which is interesting. Shinbi getting some very due nerfs. Riktor getting some across the board buffs that will probably make him quite strong in solo and jungle. Murdoch, the ult getting balanced is probably one of the bigger ones. Mourn getting across the board buffs should make him pretty viable at a support as well as solo lane. Belica finally having her autos balanced. Kira getting buffs to outcompete Twin Blast. Kallari getting some general buffs that will help her be more consistent and reliable. Greystone, probably one of the bigger changes, getting mysteriously strong buffs. Greystone nerfs are inbound as of Tuesday the 29th. And that's about it as far as the most impactful ones. You've got Greystone getting the biggest buffs, I would say. Kallari getting decent buffs. Mourn getting across the board buffs. And Riktor getting across the board buffs. And those are kind of the biggest ones. And then Wraith getting some mysterious changes. So that's all we've got for the hero balances. Let me know if your favorite hero got changes or what you see that's going to impact the meta out of those hero changes. Let's get into the item balance changes. Very few of them here to go through, so it will take a lot less time than those hero changes. Sky Splitter, we don't want to balance this item properly, so let's just keep removing 1% lifesteal until people stop building it. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you. You're going to have to go below 6 for people to stop building this item. It is still going to be a catch-all purchase, and it's pretty much one of the best carry items, and this 1% lifesteal does not change that. Solaris, this is an item that's only getting built on Kira and Twin Blast, and it probably only ever will get built on Kira or Twin Blast. You could build it maybe on some melee heroes too, but I probably like maybe Crunch, but I maybe wouldn't recommend it pretty much ever. It's getting its damage reduced by 5, but it's getting 10% better scaling, so it will hit harder on its proc. And it's getting increased healing, so it will heal you 4 more when it does proc. Still a good item on Twin and Kira for sure, right? But just not on anybody else. Assassin items, we got Spirit Desolation. This is definitely not getting built much anymore since nobody's using Kallari's ult to initiate. They're using it to finish. And so which was kind of the whole point of Spear when it did get added, is because it was great for Kallari to ult in and then have that damage. But I guess you could still do that. Ability haste is being increased, and the final hour damage amp is being increased by 1%. So solid buffs for this. It's still definitely buildable on heroes like Kallari or full damage Zarus or maybe Sereth, right? It's still solid on those type of heroes that wants to hit their ult and then dive, but it's still probably not a very attractive item in the majority of games. And that's it for Assassin. Next we got Fighter, and we've just got Og and Tyranny. Og getting a cost reduction by 100 and 25 extra health. A lot of heroes, this is still one of their best items, if not their best starting item, on heroes like Crunch, Zarus, heroes that are using abilities frequently that want that big health pool and want big damage. So a cost decrease and 25 health does not hurt my feelings. Keep in mind that this item used to have this much health, but they nerfed it, and now they are reverting it. Well, I'm seeing a theme come together. Tyranny, again, getting increased health. It's almost as if the last patch we nerfed all the health items, and this time we're going to give a little bit back. So 50 extra health on Tyranny is quite nice, as well as 15 ultimate haste. No need to reduce the cost of this item because that is sizable buffs. I think Tyranny definitely very valuable now on certain heroes. They like to ult and dive. I'm definitely thinking Zarus for this one. But you've also got like Ramp and stuff who make great use of this. And 15 ult haste, we will take it. Mage items, only one change, which is 5% attack speed being reduced from Prophecy. I think this is a good change because for some reason, a lot of mid laners are just building this right now. Like they will just pick up Prophecy first or second item in mid lane and just focus you down with autos and get a lot of extra damage. 5% attack speed doesn't hurt the item that much as far as especially on full attack speed builds that use it, but it does make it less of a like super OP stat efficient item to pick up on all mid laners' first item. And then finally we've got support here. Vanguardian, not a very favorable support item by most people, but a cost increase doesn't help that, and 10 haste added is just kind of okay. So not really sure what the thought process is here. If anything, the cost probably could have stayed the same and it picked up 10 haste and it would have probably felt better, but still a cheap item as a support item, so we'll take it. If you are building Vanguardian, you like the 10 haste. Cresselia, this is one of the more impactful changes, I think, especially coming to the support role. This is quite nice. 25% extra mana regen does not quite get it to the time warp level, but 10 extra power, I mean, for this cheap of an item, 50 power and 125 mana regen is quite attractive at the support role, I can say, and also on some other heroes maybe too. It's so cheap you could build it on some mid laners if you're planning to get auto attack value on them in the early game. And then of course it is getting buffed and Marshall is getting nerfed because the reason is Marshall is just getting built every single time and people are bypassing Cresselia like 90% of the time. So Marshall getting a little bit more on-hit damage right when you build it, but then the on-hit damage per level is decreasing to 1 instead of 2. So it will balance out by the time that you're level 5, which is kind of when you're getting this online anyway, right? The damage will be about equal, and then from then on it will be less. So a solid item, but it is just getting picked up too much right now on supports. So as far as reviewing the item changes, I think the biggest ones are AUG is a pretty impactful one, I think. I mean, these are really minor changes overall, so I don't know if any of these are really that impactful. I think AUG and Tyranny will feel better. Tyranny actually has more of a reason to build it now with 15 ult haste on it. You're probably still very rarely picking up Spear or Solaris except for on Kira and Twin. Sky Splitter, yippee! Prophecy, again, 5% doesn't really change this item that much, but it does make it less OP for a first item in mid laners. And then I think Marshall will be a little bit less attractive, but if you benefit from Marshall, you're still building Marshall, so it is what it is. One of the most impactful, if not the most impactful item change is probably Cresselia. Getting 10 power and 25% extra mana regen does make it a very solid first item for the majority of supports. Even if you plan on getting Marshall as well, Cresselia, really strong cooldown item, and wouldn't be surprised to see it first picked on many supports like Decker, who will benefit from it greatly. So, got a series of bug fixes, which is nice, and that's a wrap. You've made it to the end. Thank you for reading the final patch notes of this chapter in Predecessor's history, because we got Wukong. Yippee, we've been waiting forever. It also is the first season of Ranked, so that's kind of just as important as Wukong. And then, yeah, as we shared on a recent stream, there's so much more on the horizon. Check out the stream, like I said, linked below. And that's going to do it. A lot of changes, but most of them very minor, so we'll just have to see how the meta shakes out. We're going to play on it for about a week after release before we start discussing a tier list of heroes. I don't expect too many heroes to move around from these changes, aside from maybe Greystone, Rick, and Mourn moving up some, and Kalari even moving up some. But most of these heroes that are strong are still going to be strong, and these heroes that are weak are still going to be weak. So it is what it is. Check out the Wukong ability overview video, like I said, way up here. Check out this one. It's Wukong Hero Overview. It's a little over 4.5 minutes. I will link it in the description as well. It's a good watch. It's very entertaining, and it is informative to see Wukong's abilities. That's going to do it for our patch notes and meta discussion. Let me know what you think about this patch. Do you like it? Do you like the direction they're taking the meta? Are you in the 90% of the player base who wants them to go more in the MOBA direction, or do you want them to go in the hero shooter direction? Just remove death timers completely. Let us instant respawn for all that matter, and just start Fang at level 1. I mean, at minute 1, just let it spawn too. I mean, who cares? Let's play a hero shooter. Let's try to compete with these other hero shooters that are popular. Maybe we can pull some of their players away. I'm obviously just kidding. Those are terrible ideas. Let's go the MOBA route on this, but that's just my opinion. Let me know if you have a different one, and keep enjoying Pred regardless. We're going to keep coming out to the live streams and hanging out with us, or talk to us live, or queue some games with us if you want. Let me know what you think about Wukong. He looks very overpowered, and of course he will inevitably be very overpowered for at least this patch, maybe the following patch after this one too, when he receives a series of nerfs. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by, and keep enjoying Pred as always. We'll see y'all in tonight's live stream, as we usually do. Thanks for the big support, getting us over 400 subscribers here. Still working on the 400 subscriber series, but I think we're going to wait until we get to play Wukong a little bit, because he is going to impact how we discuss that series. So we'll catch you on the next one, and keep enjoying Pred, guys. Just keep enjoying Pred.